Hello students. Today I am here Roshni Goyal, RG ma'am, to start your lecture number 1, crop production and management. The first chapter of class 8, that is crop production and management. So let's get started. Okay? So first you should know what is crop production and its management. Do we require management of the crops also, or we can grow and eat them like anything? So first thing is that students, if you want to grow any kind of crops, you require particular things like suitable weather, suitable soil in which you can grow the crops, means it has a particular pH and nutrient availability. Okay, now we have to manage these kind of productions on the basis of their growing material, like the weather which it suits, like the soil which it suits, and many more things. Now what we have to do, that if we have grown the crops, we have to keep it in a storage house also, and we have to save them from the enemies like the pesticides or the pest that go there and eat them. So we have to do the pesticide spray also. So we have to keep and manage all the things and distribute it in our environment. Okay, a farmer works a lot on crop production. It keeps the healthy crop for us, and this healthy crop is then transported to our houses and we consume it. So it is a type of fuel for our body. If we do not get the fuel in the form of food, then we are not going to survive. Okay, students? So before starting this lecture, I am going to show a very small video of what the agriculture means. What the agriculture means and how it is being regulated, what type of terms are necessary, like the crop seasons, the proper management of each and everything, like the soil pH, soil environment, and also the soil temperature. Okay, the weather conditions and each and everything. And the farmer works a lot to do this kind of thing, means to produce the crop. Okay, first I am going to see the contents. The content of my lecture are the agriculture and improvement in food resources. Okay, so what is agriculture? You know well very this thing, that we have to grow the crops in a suitable weather condition, in a suitable weather season, and many more fertilizers and manure we required to grow a particular crop. Where it is grown, it is decided by the type of soil. And the second thing is the improvement in food resources. What are the improvement that are coming in our food resources? Means the generation of the hybrid plants over there, and many more fruits and vegetables are converted through cross pollination, and also the mixed farming practices, so that they can be grown in a particular land or a field. So let's see how the agriculture begins through a very small video over here. So first thing you should remember, students, our body needs fuel, and this fuel is our food. So this man is thinking about that, where the fuel has came from. So let's start the video and see all the things about agriculture. Okay, so is this man thinking about the fuel, and the fuel is what? Food. Okay, now let us see that which type of food do we require. We require a balanced diet. In balanced diet, we count the proteins, the vitamins, the carbohydrate, everything. On our earth, we grow the crops. Okay, and the crops are the basic necessity of a particular human being, because they have rich in fibers, vitamins, minerals, everything else. Now, a human body requires a particular balanced diet in which all the things are necessary for its complete digestion and the production of the energy in its body. So, students, what is the thing, the basic requirement we need? The basic thing that we need is the crop. Crop may be like wheat, maize. Okay, now what are the essential things that are used for a crop? Where the crops are grown. So a farmer needs more potential to grow the crops. Okay, the crops are grown on a land field. Okay, now the question arises, the producing food is what? The producing food means the planting seed and breeding of animals, means rearing of livestock. Okay, Now, the process of food production occurs. How the food production is conducted. So, for the regular conduction and proper management and distribution of the food resources, we require what? We require what the question arises. So, the answer to this question is the farmer work on the land, and that is known as agriculture. So, what is agriculture, students, over here? That is the cultivation on a land. Okay. In earlier times, used to early man do to hunting, rearing, but they were not sufficient for them, for their body requirements. But nowadays, farmer or peasants grow the crops over the land or a soil to make the human need completed. Now, how they are grown? They are grown on a large area or a large scale of land fields. Now, what we can grow like wheat, rice, sugarcane, we can grow on lands, and fruits, vegetables, pulses, everything which is grown on a particular big land is come under the category of agriculture. Now, the question arises, which type of seasons are needed by the crops to grow? So, the first season is the kharif crop, means which are grown in monsoon season, and the rabi crops which are grown in winter season. The kharif crop which is grown in between June to September, that is the monsoon season, and the crops are paddy, means rice, maize, and soya bean. If we talk about rabi crops, then they are grown in the seasons between November to February. Okay, and November to February means little bit or very more winter season. Okay, so wheat, mustard, and gram are the crops which are grown in the winter season. So let's take a quick revision of these kind of crops. The kharif crops, that is the paddy, the rice, maize, and soya bean, and rabi crops, wheat, mustard, and the last one. Okay, now if we talk about the crops which are grown in summer season. Okay, so the crops which are grown in summer season are the vegetables, pulses, and they are known as zayed crops, which is not mentioned here. Okay, now we require a particular weather, a particular temperature, climatic conditions, soil, pH, each and everything, manure, fertilizers for growing a particular crop. So we are going to understand each and everything in this lecture. So let's get started with the term agriculture first here. So what is agriculture? Agriculture is derived from the two Latin terms, that means ager and cultura. Ager means what? Ager means what, students? Ager means a field or a land, and cultura means cultivation. Okay, now you have to mark this important here. Ager means land or a field, and cultura means cultivation. So agriculture is formed by the two terms, that is ager and cultura. Now, the main important thing, the agriculture means cultivation of a huge mass of land for rearing the livestock also, and also for the survival of a particular human being. Now, the scientists in the art of producing crop and the livestock for economic purposes can be counted as agriculture. Now, the science behind this is the scientists are working more efficiently for this thing, that how agricultural techniques can be improved and how they can be made easy so the farmers do not have to suffer from more problematic situations. So this is also counted in the agriculture itself. Now moving on towards the next slide, we are going to study about the different branches of agriculture. So what are the different branches of agriculture? If I talk about agriculture, agriculture includes all the things. Means it includes what? It includes the rearing of livestock, cultivation of land, raising crops, harvesting, and marketing the produce. Now, what does it mean? First thing, rearing of livestock. Okay, now what does it mean? If there is a huge mass of land which is being cultivated, so what happens? The livestock, that is the cows, the buffaloes, the goats, and many more animals are reared on that land only. Okay, now second thing, cultivating land. A huge mass of land is being cultivated for the human use purpose. Next, raising crops. Crops is being raised by putting the manure and the fertilizers on it so that they can grow properly and become healthy. Next point, harvesting. If they are grown completely, then they are harvested. And after harvesting, they are stocked. Okay, in particular godowns. Okay, so last is marketing the produce. If a particular farmer is growing on a huge mass of land, maybe it be wheat or maize or barley or anything, any crop which he is growing, it should be marketed, means it should be supplied to the market for the purpose of human use. Okay, so this means what? Now next, it is further subdivided into many categories. Now it is divided into many categories. How? Moving on the next slide, we are going to see the categories of agriculture. So first is agronomy. Now what is agronomy? As the name suggests, it is totally dependent on the agriculture. Agriculture means the cultivation processes. Now let us see the definition of it. It is the branch of agriculture science dealing with the production of field. Dealing with the production of field means it depends upon a farmer that how does a produce has to be reached. Okay, if the efficiency of the farmer and the land efficiency is more, the soil is fertile, then the production will be more, and if efficiency is less, then the production will be less. So it depends upon the farmer also, on the land and the soil also, and also important thing, that is the weather conditions. Okay students, now next point about agronomy is crops and management of soil, obviously. And the last point is agronomists are sometimes known as what? They are known as crop scientists. Why they are known as crop scientists? Because they know each and everything about crops, and they know it, how they should produce it, how a crop requires particular manure, fertilizer, weather, pH, everything else. Okay, so you should remember this term. Okay, it is a branch of agriculture which deals with the science and production of the field. Okay, now next branch we are going to talk about is horticulture. Now what is horticulture? First we have to understand the definition of it. Okay, so what is horticulture, student? It is the branch of agriculture that deal in growth and management of fruit and flowering plants in orchards and gardens. Okay, so it is related to only and only fruits and flowering plants, means we are not talking about the crop over here. It is related to fruits and the flowering plants. So horticulture means the branch of agriculture that deals with the growth and management of the fruits and the flowering plants in orchards and gardens. Okay, in a particular orchard or a garden, if I am developing the plants or the fruits of different types, then it is known as what? Horticulture. Okay, in this the crops are not counted, students. Okay, crop is different category. Okay, now let us see with a beautiful diagram over here that how the orchards are rich in apples, grapes, bananas and everything else. So you can see here this garden is raised, or we can say a orchard is raised here, and these apples are embedded over each and every plant. So these are grown in a particular space over here. We can make it in our nearby area in our house also. You can see that in some of the people, their houses are like that. They have made a small orchard over there, and they grow different types of flowers and fruits over there. Okay, so this is known as horticulture. We can practice this type of agriculture in our homes itself. Okay, now moving on towards the next type of agriculture, that is the Oleary culture. What is Oleary culture, students? Oleary culture refers to growing and managing of vegetables. Okay, the science that deals with the culture of non-woody plants. This you should put a star mark over here. Non-woody plants means these plants do not do the secondary growth. Remember student, if a plant is doing a secondary growth, then the wood part will be developed. But if a plant is doing only the primary growth, then the wood part will not be developed. Its stems and branches will remain green forever. Okay, so This term is related to the culture of non-woody plants for food. Okay, now let us see the diagram over here of this thing. Now you can see here these are the non-woody parts, means they do not have any kind of wood. Carrot do not have any kind of wood, it is a underground part. Okay, and these are the parts that do not have onions. Okay, here cauliflower. Okay, cauliflower, cabbage, sweet corn, cucumber, these are the parts which do not have any kind of wood part in them, because they show only primary growth. Okay, now moving on towards the next point, the next type of agriculture, that is the aquaculture. Now what is aquaculture? It is very simply, you can see over here through the diagrammatic representation also. As the name suggests, aqua means water, so cultivation inside water is known as aqua. Now what is the basic thing behind that? What we have to do, we put a layer of plant above and we put the animal part below. Means if we are doing the fishery and the plant part at the same time, that cultivation is known as aquaculture. Now what happens, students, you can see in this diagram over here, this type of cultivation includes the animals and the plants both at the same time. Means these, okay, this water has fish content also, means fish are also rearing inside it. Okay, and the water which is being supplied to fishes are supplying to plants also. So both the things are going symbiotically over here. Okay, so this type of cultivation is known as what? Aquaculture. Did you understand this thing? Both the things are going simultaneously. Okay, so we read about 4 types of agriculture processes. First was agronomy, second was horticulture, third was Oleary culture, and the last one was aquaculture. So these are the types of agriculture which are followed in the world. Okay, now let's move on towards our next topic, that is source of food. So what is source of food, students? Source of food may be seed, may be root, may be vegetable, may be fruit, may be cereals, may be pulses, may be grams, anything else which we eat and consume, and they supply our body to protein, carbohydrates, with vitamins, and anything else which is the basic requirement of our cells are counted in the source of food. Now where did we get food from? This is the great question over here. Okay, do all the plants supply all vitamins? Do all plants supply seeds? Do all plants supply roots? No, students, each and every plant have its specific properties. Some supply roots, some supply stem, some have edible part as leaf also. You eat spinach. Spinach is what? Spinach is just a leaf part and we eat it and we get iron over here. Okay, so we can eat each and every part of the plant depending upon the type of material which it contains. It can contain vitamins, it can contain divalent ions, it can contain carbohydrates, fats, fatty acids, lipids, anything else. So let us see what are the sources of food over here. Okay, so crops are planted which are cultivated by human, as can be food, can be fibers, can be flowers, anything else which I told you about. Now the next point about it, there are 2000 species which are cultivated for eating purposes. You know this thing, this is a great thing which you know today, that 2000 species are being cultivated in our whole world, that we eat, we consume, and we develop our body. Okay, so next point, following parts of the plant are eaten as food. So what are the parts of the plant that can be consumed and used to build up our body? So let us take a look over here. So first part which you see here, I am not mentioning the name. What are these? Can you guess it? What are these, students? These are the seeds. Okay, do we eat seeds also, ma'am? Yes, students, we eat seeds also. We can eat each and every part of the plant depending upon the type of the material which it contains. Okay, Maybe it be stem, maybe it be leaf, maybe it be root, anything else. So if we want to discuss about seeds, what are seeds? Okay, so you know what are seeds. Okay, the basic part of the plant from which it develops are known as seed. I don't want to make definition over here. Okay, so not all seeds of the plants are edible. So this is a question over here. Why we cannot eat all type of seeds present in our fruits or vegetables? Why we put a slice over an apple? Why do we not eat the seeds of apple? What does the harm is caused by this thing? So you have to remember this thing, students. Each seed part or each seed is not edible, okay, because they can contain some poisonous substances also. Now I am going to tell you about the two great facts that the fruit contains. Okay, okay. Now, if you eat lemon seeds, so lemon seeds are very sharp if they engulf you. Lemon seeds are very sharp. If you engulf the lemon seeds, what will happen? Choking hazard will happen. What do you mean by choking hazard? It means that your passage of breathing will be choked, and because of this, the human death can be caused. And the second example, the most interesting example of our life is that we cannot eat apple seeds. Why do we cannot eat apple seeds, students? Because apple seeds contain the poison cyanide, and this cyanide can cause human death also. So you should remember this thing, that all the seeds are not edible. Okay, you should eat the seeds that are only beneficial for your body, not all the seeds. So now the question arises that which type of seeds are beneficial for our body. Okay, so the seeds which are edible are the cereals, the pulses, oil seeds, dry fruits. Okay, now we will study briefly about the cereals, pulses, oil seeds, and dry fruits in the next upcoming slides. Okay, so let's move on towards the next upcoming slide, that is about cereals. So, what are cereals, students? They include the crop part, okay, which I told you in the video. The crop part, that is the wheat, the rice, barley, maize, sorghum. Okay, so these are the crop part which are included in the cereal. Now, it is a great thing that they are the rich source of carbohydrates. What are carbohydrates? The carbon hydrogen bond. Each and every student know this thing, that it is an organic compound which is used inside our body. Now, how it is used inside our body? So, I am going to tell you this great fact over here. Carbohydrates contains starch. Okay. Now, when starch enters inside our body, amylase enzyme converts starch into glucose. So, you should eat a balanced diet properly, because if the carbohydrates are less, then the starch volume will also be less, and less glucose will be supplied to your body, and you will be like dull. You will not be able to do any kind of work. So if you want to do every each and everything energetically said, then you should eat proper amount of food which is required for your body to function properly. Okay, now if you see here, these are the grains of cereals. Now you can see here the maize. It is also known as makka in Hindi, and rice, wheat, barley, sorghum, millets, oats, rye, triticale, fonio. These are all the examples of cereals. You have to learn them. Okay. So you should learn 5 of them in itself in this class only. Okay. So what are cereals? You know this thing, or the crop part are known as cereal. That is the wheat, maize, rice, barley, sorghum. 5 I have made you learn. Now moving on the next slide, we are going to see that what are pulses. Each and every human being consumes pulses. Now, what are the process of pulses, how they are obtained from our soil, and why they are useful for us? So, let us see this thing, that it includes all the legumes. Okay, legume part of the plant are known as what? Pulses. Okay, now the examples are the chickpea, gram, that is known as chana, pea, that is known as matar, black gram, that is known as urad, green gram, that is known as moong, and pigeon pea, that is known as arhar, cow pea, that is known as lobia, and lentil, that is known as masoor, and many more are there examples. In Hindi we call them dal. Okay, masoor dal, lobia dal, and many more examples are there. So they are very necessary for our body, students, because they have protein, and proteins are the basic building blocks of a human body. So you should consume cereals daily, because our body require protein in a very rich amount. Okay, no, so you should mark here, they are the excellent source of proteins. So proteins are the building blocks of our body, and if we do not consume protein, then their growth of our body will be restricted, and we are not going to perform any kind of activity energetically. So we require each and everything in our body: carbohydrate, protein, fats, vitamins, minerals, each and everything. So we should eat pulses more. Okay, now let us see the representation of pulses over here. So pulses may be like the split green gram, black eyed beans, which is also known as cholai in Hindi, if you know this thing. Yellow pigeon peas, that is known as arhar dal. Kidney beans, that is also known as rajma. Split black gram, that is known as moong dal. Okay, green gram, it is also known as moong. Red lentils, adzuki beans, green peas, that is also known as matar dal. White peas, black gram beans. Okay, split and skinned green gram, split red lentils, Turkish stew lentils, split Bengal grams, and the last one is split and skinned black gram. So you do not have to learn all the types of beans over here. You just remember somewhat which I told you in the previous slide. That were the cow pea beans or the chickpea beans. Okay, and pea, and about this yellow pigeon, black eyed, you just have to remember 3 to 4 example. They are more than sufficient for your examination. Now did you understand what are the pulses and what are cereals? Okay, moving on towards the next slide, we are going to see about the oil seed crops. Now why we are using the two terms over here, the oil also and seed also? So the seeds which are capable of producing oil are known as oil seed crops. There are some seeds which are capable of producing oil. They are known as oil seed crops. Now what are they? We should see the examples. So examples are niger, cottonseed, sunflower. You know sunflower oil, many of you are eating sunflower oil. Soya bean oil also. Flax, linseed oil, which is also known as alsi in Hindi. And rapeseed, groundnut, very basic. Groundnut and sesame are very basic. Okay, they can be seen in each and every house. Okay, groundnut oil we use in our daily purposes. Sesame oil also, that is also known as til in Hindi. So this mustard, sunflower, olive oil we use in our houses for cooking purposes. So these are the seeds which produce oil. Okay, they have oil content in them because they are rich in fats and fatty acids. Okay, so it is also written over here, they are rich in fats and fatty acids. So the oil is prepared by these seeds. Okay, now nuts and dry fruits. Nuts or dry fruits are the things which are eaten more and more nowadays by each and every student, because they increase the capacity of our brain to work, and also our body requires them. Why we require them? Let us see here. So why we require them? Because they are rich in proteins and fatty acids. They are rich in proteins and fatty acids. So fatty acids are the basic requirement of our body also, and proteins, as I said, they are the building blocks of our body. So we should consume them to make our cells happy, because they require these type of things to grow. Okay, if a body grows, if a small kid is there, if he or she is not having a balanced diet, or he or she is not taking the proper type of balanced diet, means proteins, vitamins, minerals, each and everything, then the body will not grow properly and some kind of problem will arises in the body. And because of this, we should eat cereals, pulses, nuts, fruits, dry fruits, each and everything. Now if I want to tell you a great thing about dry fruit, the dry fruit are rich in protein as well as fatty acids. But one thing which I want to tell you is that they are the basic things which our body wants for extra growth and extra strength also. You have seen in sports also, if a person is doing any kind of sport activity, he or she is going to eat dry fruits with milk, because our body requires this kind of energy. Okay, now we can see the examples over here: almond, walnut, cashew nut. Okay, now why they are important for our body, I want to tell you about one use of each dry fruit over here. So almonds, why they are required in our body? Because they increases the strength of our eyes. Okay, they increases the strength of our eyes. Okay, they are very beneficial for our eyes. Next is walnut. Walnut is a very good dry fruit, students, because it contains omega-3 fatty acids. And omega-3 fatty acids are required by our body for the proper development of our hairs, for the proper development of our skin. Okay, so I am writing it over here. Walnut is rich in omega-3 fatty acids. And this type of component is required for the proper development of our skin and hair growth. So you should eat one walnut daily, okay, for the proper functioning of your skin and hair. Now the last part, that is cashew nut. Cashew nut is a very basic dry fruit, and it is also used in many kind of chocolates also. Okay, so cashew nut is a good source for our development, for development of our body, development of body. Okay, for development of our body means each and every part of our body requires somewhat nutrients which are contained in the dry fruits. Okay, now let's move on towards the next part, that is the dry fruit chart over here. Now you can see here why they are known as dry fruits. Okay, why we are using the term dry over here? We are using the term dry over here because they can be stored in dry climatic conditions. Okay, they do not require moist environment to get stored. And the second thing is that we do not have to cook them, we can eat it raw. Okay, now you can see here almonds, okay, here also, and cashew nuts, here are the walnuts, here are the groundnuts, and many more. Okay, so you should eat dry fruits for the better functioning of your body. Now let's move on towards the next slide. Fruits. What are fruits? You should know this thing. The basic definition of a fruit. The ripened ovary is known as fruit. The ripened ovary is known as fruit. As you know, student, what happens, how the fruit is formed? The pollination occurs, the anther transfer from stigma. Okay, now the pollination occurs, and what happens? The fruit is formed inside the plant. What are fruits? They are the ripened ovaries. So it is also written over here, ripened ovaries of the plants, and good source of vitamins, minerals, roughage. What is roughage? I am going to tell you this thing. Okay, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, means each and every essential nutrient which is required by our body are contained in fruits. So you should eat a single fruit daily. Maybe it be apple, maybe it be mango, it's dependent upon your choice. Okay, now uh, you uh, you are better familiar with the examples of fruits like pomegranate, apple, banana, papaya, pear, peach, plum, etc. Okay, now the thing is, what is ripened ovary? Ripened ovary is something like that which is totally matured. Okay, now it does not require over maturity, so it is known as ripened ovary, and the ripened ovary turns into what? Fruits. Now moving on toward the next part, that is the vegetables. So what are vegetables? That is the edible part of the plant is known as vegetable. You know it very well. Okay, now they are the edible parts of the herbaceous plant. What do you mean by herbaceous plant over here? Herbaceous means which are grown up by the herbs. Okay, now they are eaten in raw or cooked form. You know that thing, they can be eaten in raw or cooked form also. Now, in the earlier times when early men used to survive, they just pluck the fruits or vegetables from the plant and they just eat it raw only. But now the things have been developed and we cook all the food, all the vegetable part we have to cook, and we have to make dishes and then we eat it. Okay, now what happens, students, if we consume the raw food, means the vegetable part, if we consume it, some part should be cooked. Okay, some part are necessarily to be cooked. Why it is to be cooked? Because some enzymes and some vitamins gets activated when they require a particular temperature. So vegetables should be cooked and eat, so they can be digested easily in our body. If we are eating it raw, then our body had to break down it, and for breaking it down more type of energy is required, and we have to supply more energy to our body to break it down. So for the proper digestion and for proper excretion, we require the cooked food only. Okay, now there is a great question over here, that what is the difference between a fruit and a vegetable? Do you know, student? Any of you know this thing, that what is the great difference between a fruit and a vegetable? So I am going to tell you a great fact over here. What is fruit and what is vegetable? A fruit is a part of a plant which is grown up by a flower, means which is developed by a flower. And rather than flower, if anything is getting developed by stems, leaves, roots, that is counted in as vegetable. So vegetable is not the part of the plant which is developed by flower. Okay, so you have to remember this thing, that fruit is a part of a plant which is developed by flower, and vegetable is a part of a plant which is developed by root, stems, leaves, branches, or anything else. Okay, did you understand the basic difference between the fruit and vegetable over here? It is clear to you now? Now moving on towards the next slide. Vegetables are of following types. Now you should know the types of vegetable which we eat. Okay, they can be from root part, they can be from stem part, they can be from leaves. Any part we can eat depending upon the type of material they contain. Okay, so the first part that we see is roots. Okay, so roots are some plants such as carrot, radish, turnip, sweet potato and beet potato are eaten as vegetables. You know this thing, in our daily life routine we eat carrot. Okay, we eat what? Carrot, we eat turnip, we eat radish. So these are the root parts of the plant which we consume for our basic needs. Okay, now next is the stem part. Now the stems of some plants such as mustard, bamboo, banana, asparagus, etc. are used as a vegetable. So stem part can also be used as a vegetable. Okay, we are eating it in our daily life, but we do not put our brains over there that what we are eating, that is root or stem. But now if you are eating today, then you should know that if you are eating carrot, then it is root part of the vegetable part plant, and if you are eating what? Asparagus or banana, or if you are eating bamboo leaves, then they are the part of what? Stem part of the plant. So there is a great difference between both of the two. Root part is the part which is present below the ground, that is underground, and the stem part is above the part, that is the aerial part of the plant. You should remember this thing. Now, there are modified stems also. We are using the word modified here. Why we are using the word modified here? Because these are the stems, but they grow underground. Okay, so let us see the examples. They are potato, onion, garlic, ginger, etc. Okay, now there is a great important fact over here. The stems of sugarcane are used for making cane juice and jaggery. Jaggery is also known as gur, which we eat usually in winters. Okay. Now you can see over the chart over here, there is a great differentiation between the root part and the stem part of the plant. Now I have represented here the root part of the plant. You can see here there are carrots. Okay, there are carrots, the turnip, okay, radish. These part of the plant are known as the root part of the plant. And if you see here, these garlics, they are the stem part of the plant. So these are the stem part, means they are the modified stems, and these are the root part. So there is a great differentiation between both of the two. Now the leafy vegetables. Leafy vegetables means the leaf part of the plant which is edible. The leaf part of the plant which is edible is known as what? Leafy vegetables. So let us see the examples over here. The leaves of spinach, lettuce, cabbage, turnip, radish, mustard, methi, bathua, the pigweed, the curry leaf tree. These are the leaves which are edible and which are very useful for our body because they contain a very much amount of iron, divalent ions like magnesium, calcium, and many more things which is required for our body functioning. Okay. The inflorescence vegetable. Now, what is the inflorescence vegetable over here? Let us see. They include the part which provides our body a great strength. Okay, they are the strengthful vegetables we should eat. So, first is broccoli, cauliflower, which is the favorite of many of the students. Flowers of banana, fennel. Fennel is the soap which we call in Hindi. And gourd is the Loki which we call in Hindi. I am just writing the Hindi terms over here because some students are getting confused by the terms. So I am going to explain it to you. So fennel, gourd and saffron. Saffron, which is also known as kesar. These are the inflorescence vegetables. Now next move on toward the next slide, that is about the fruit vegetables and the spices. So what are the fruit vegetables? What do you mean by the fruit vegetables? I am mixing the two terms over here. In the previous slide I have told you about fruit are different and vegetable are different. Now what is the confusion over here? Students, remember this thing, the fruits are different and vegetables are different. Okay, based upon the type of the plant part they are grown. Okay, fruits are grown from the flower part of the plant and vegetables are grown from other parts of the plant rather than fruit. Okay, flower. Okay, now if you understand about the fruit vegetables are those fruits which are eaten as vegetables. Okay, we eat brinjal. Brinjal is a fruit but eaten as vegetable. Tomato, it is a fruit but eaten as vegetable. Okay, so those fruits which are eaten as vegetable in our daily life routine are known as fruit vegetables. So they include the tomato, pumpkin, brinjal, eggplant, jackfruit, bitter gourd, bottle gourd, wrist gourd, cluster bean, cucumber, ladyfinger, pumpkin. So it is a great significance. Have you read it about that these are all fruits but are used as vegetables in our daily life routine? Now the question arises, ma'am, can we eat them raw? No, students, because they require some type of temperature to get converted into cooked food because some enzymes are present in them that gets activated when a proper temperature is supplied to them. and for our body easily digestion and excretion, we should cook them first and then we should eat them. Okay, so these have many kind of pigments which are necessary for our body. So these are the fruit vegetable. Now you are clear with this term, what is fruit vegetable. Now I am moving towards the next term, that is the spices. Now why I am using the word spices over here, these are the certain parts of some plants like leaves, stems, flowers, fruits and seeds. So they can be leaves, stems, flowers, fruits and seeds, but they are used as spices. They are not eaten like raw thing. Now why they are not eaten like raw thing? Because they have a different taste and they provide taste to our food. That is why they are counted in spices. Okay, so what are spices? We should take a look over here. They enhance the palatability of the food. What is palatability over here? Palatability means the taste of our food. The taste of food. The taste of the food is enhanced by these spices. Okay, they can be a leaf part, they can be stem part, they can be root part, anything else. So let us look at example over here. The turmeric, black pepper, cumin, fenugreek seeds, etc. Many are the types of spices available over here. Okay, so I am going to show you many kind of spices and fruit vegetables chart. So fruit vegetables, you can see it. These are looking like what? Fruits, but they are eaten as vegetables also in our daily life routine. Okay, now let us look on the spices. Spices are like, this is the black pepper. You should learn some name because they are very important for us. This is the black pepper. Okay, these are what? Fennel seeds. Okay, these are fenugreek leaves, which is also known as methi in Hindi. Okay, the red pepper. You can see here turmeric and many more are there present. So you should learn some of the names and you should remember this thing. If a plant part is making palatability in the food, then they are counted in spices. They can be leaf part also, they can be stem part also, they can be roots, anything else. Okay. Now the last part which I want to tell you, that are the fodder crops and the other crops. So fodder crops are those type of crops which are used for rearing our livestock, because if the animals will not uh, get feeded properly, then how they will do the proper cultivation of the fields. Okay, so fodder crops are very necessary for their rearing and for their proper functioning. Okay, so fodder crops are, we can see the examples over here, like green fodder of the cattle can be maintained by berseem, oat, Sudan grass and sorghum. The cows, buffaloes, goats are supplied by this food only, so their body can function properly and they meet the daily requirements of their body and can function and develop the potential to do the work in the fields and do cultivation processes. So last part I am going to tell you about the other crops which are not counted in the parts which we have taught, which I told you previously. So the crop plants also eat fibers, that is cotton. Cotton is grown in black soil. You should remember this thing. Each and every each and every vegetable or fruit require a particular type of soil to grow. Maybe it be black soil, maybe it be loamy, sandy, alluvial, any type of soil, and the weather conditions are the necessary conditions. Some soil are rich in nutrients, but if the weather conditions are not provided to them, then they will not grow properly the fruits or vegetables which we have cultivated over the land. Okay, so the other crops include tobacco also, tea, coffee, which are used as beverages, you know very well. Okay, the chocolate, and peppermint. So these are counted in the other crops because they are developed from the other parts of the plant and not used in the daily life routine also, because they are counted in beverages or anything else which we consume. Okay, so this was the part about the agriculture. And now we are going to study about the improvement in the food resources. So how do we can improve the food resources? What are the techniques we should use the food resources to improve? So first point is protect and renew the soil fertility. So we should check the soil fertility each and every time we are doing the cultivation process. If we are not using the techniques to make the soil enrich in nutrients, then the fertility will be lost. And if we are putting more chemical fertilizers in the soil, then also the fertility will be lost and the land will become barren. Okay, so we should not use many type of chemical fertilizers, and we should check the soil fertility before sowing any kind of seed in it. Okay, now the next point is optimizes the management and use of farm resources. We should optimize the management. Okay, if a farmer is working on a particular crop field, then he or she should optimize it. He or she should use the irrigation purpose properly, the weather conditions properly, and for the use of farm resources, we should take the care of all the equipments, all the things which we are using, the agricultural implements which we are using in the field, we should take care of them. Now the third point that arises in improvement in food resources is we should use the non-renewable sources. Okay, the non-renewable resources should be put a stop to use and purchase production inputs. Okay, now the fourth point that arises here is provide an adequate and dependable form of income. If we are cultivating a land, then we should use our brain also. Okay, if we are cultivating a land and if we are not receiving any kind of income from that land, then what is the use of using that land? Okay, so if a farmer is cultivating on a crop field, then he or she should make up a mind that we are going to earn this much of money from this field, so we should work hard and make the crop cultivated. Okay, the last point promotes opportunity in family farming and farm communities. Okay, now we should indulge our home members also for farming procedures, because a particular single farmer cannot cultivate the whole field. So the family members should support them. Okay, and they should give the opportunity to the town members also to make the field cultivated and work over there. And last is the farm communities. In the villages, the farm communities are being formed depending upon the type of seasons. If the farm community, if there is a division between the farm community, then one is going to do the cultivation for the kharif crops and one is going to do the cultivation for rabi crops. So season by season they are going to get cultivated, and the crop is also not going to destroy, and the land will also become fertile every time. If there is not a proper check over the field and the community is not doing a proper work, then what will happen? The land will become barren because of the use of great fertilizers, that is the chemical fertilizers, and the farmer will have to pay this debt. Okay, so this is the great thing, and these are the improvement in the food resources which should occur, and also these are occurring in our society, we can see also. So I am ending my topic over here. Okay, thank you.